Hello everybody, I'm Ajit Mishra. I'm here again with a very important session. I'm going to talk about emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence, EI or EQ as it is very popularly called, is very closely associated with empathy. So they go together, empathy and EI or emotional intelligence. So if we have to develop great empathy skills, if we have to make our fortunes with empathy skills, it is very, very important that we combine our empathy skills with emotional intelligence, otherwise they will be lopsided. Therefore, it's very important that we know what emotional intelligence is all about, and we develop some great emotional intelligence in us, and we ensure that we carry our emotions, the right kind of emotions, to our workplaces, and we make the best use of those emotions in our workplaces. So we'll start with what emotional intelligence is all about. So the people who developed emotional intelligence are Peter Salafi and John Mayer, who say that emotional intelligence is the ability to perceive emotions. So I can perceive emotions of others. That means I can know in what kind of emotional state a person is in. Angry, sad. It's not really necessary for the person to show off or to show the signs of the emotional state in which the person is. But even though we do not get to see great signs of an emotional state a person is really in, we can still understand, we can still perceive the emotional state of that person, we can perceive the emotions of that person. So it is the ability to perceive emotions, to access and generate emotions. So we can quickly access and generate emotions in us as well, so that we can assist thought, to understand emotions and emotional knowledge, and to reflectively regulate emotions so as to promote emotional and intellectual growth. So for long, the world thought that emotions or intellectual activities are absolutely apart, poles apart from each other. So they don't have any connections, they don't go together. But through emotional intelligence, we now know that they can come together, they can work in combination with each other. So for any intellectual growth to take place, it's very, very important that the emotional dimensions of such growth are also taken care of, especially when we begin to assist our thought with emotions, especially when we try to understand emotions and we develop emotional knowledge and we learn how to regulate our emotions, we are going to develop emotional intelligence. So it's very important that we know what emotional intelligence is all about. When we look at emotional intelligence and try to find out its critical components, we'll come across these three. So ability is the most important thing when it comes to emotional intelligence, because it leads to the development of an ability to do a few things. The first is to perceive. That means it is a power, it is an ability with which we can easily understand, we can easily perceive the emotions of others. For example, if I show pictures or smileys with different emotions to somebody, if that person can say, okay, this is happiness, this is sadness, this is anger, this is fear, this is disgust, this is surprise, and this is shock, then I can say, yes, that person is emotionally intelligent. Because without telling the person that these are the emotions, if the person can easily figure out or discern by looking at these pictures or smileys, then I can say the person has great emotional intelligence. With such emotional intelligence, when we go out and meet people, work with people, we will always be in a better position to tell what kind of emotional states my colleagues, my friends are passing through. We can easily perceive their emotions, and we can actually modulate our behavior accordingly. So that's going to be very, very important. So it creates an ability to perceive emotions. That's one. The second, it creates an ability in us to control emotions. Because if we do not know how to control emotions, we are bound to run into trouble. Because emotions do not have mind. They don't know how they're going to behave. But the person who experiences those emotions does have a mind, and the person can regulate, the person can control, the person can modulate and do a variety of things with those emotions. But this requires that we develop an ability to do so. We develop an ability to regulate, to check our emotions. Imagine you're feeling very, very angry. So you leave your home in a very angry mood or angry state for your office. The moment you reach there, you're still carrying that anger in you. Can you afford to express that anger? Can you afford to display your anger for everyone around you in your office? You cannot afford. If you do so, you're bound to run into trouble. So what we do, if I am emotionally intelligent, I'll definitely try to regulate my emotions in such a manner so that it doesn't affect my stand, my fortune in my office, in my workplace. So I must know how to control my emotions. This is not an easy task, but with some practice, with some focused activities, we can easily develop this quality or this skill in us, the ability to control emotions. Because there are occasions when we are in for emotional outbursts. So when those emotional outbursts happen, we cannot take them back, because by that time they have caused the damage. So we can at best, somehow repair the damage, but we cannot, recall the damage and we set it right as it was earlier. So the ability to control emotions is a great ability. Similarly, the ability to evaluate emotions is again a very important ability that emotional intelligence actually creates in us. How to evaluate emotions? For example, I'm experiencing sadness. If I'm in a position to evaluate why am I feeling sad, the first response can be, I'm feeling sad. Don't come to me, don't disturb me, don't talk to me, just leave me alone. I'm feeling very sad, I'm feeling absolutely bad or mad. I can say that. But then, if I begin to evaluate, what is making me feel sad? Why is it so? Why am I sad? If I think about it, then probably I'll go to the root of that particular emotional experience. And when I go to the root of that particular emotional experience, I can actually find the cause. So that is the cause and this is the effect. So feeling sad is the effect of a certain cause. If I go to the root, I'll find the cause. Once I find the cause, if I twist, turn or take care of the cause, the effect will also change. So those who develop an ability to evaluate emotions actually go to the cause, the root cause of all emotional effects. And that's how they take care of the causes and the effects will take care of themselves. So this is a great ability that comes to us through emotional intelligence. And these three abilities are very, very important when it comes to emotional intelligence. Let's now take a look at the different components of emotional intelligence. In order to understand the different components of emotional intelligence, just take a look at this quadrant with 4 grids and a few other indicators on the left panel and on top of those grids. For example, there is a self-awareness grid, there's a self-management grid, there's a social awareness grid, and relationship management grid. On the left panel, we can see social competence, that means social awareness and relationship management are social competences. There are personal competences as well, self-awareness and self-management. At the same time, personal competence involving self-awareness is what I see, and personal competence involving self-management is what I do. So self-awareness is what I see, what I am, how I appear to myself, how I appear to others. So what I see is what I am. So what I do is how I manage myself on a personal level. Similarly, when it comes to social competency, what I see, that's my social awareness. How much social awareness I have, and then how much I do when it comes to my social competency, especially relationship management. So we need to take care of all these things so that we understand the important components of emotional intelligence. So let's take a look at each of these components in detail. Personal competence. It actually comprises our self-awareness and self-management skills. Both these skills generally focus on us individually than our interactions with other people. That means how we interact with ourselves, not with other people, is what is determined by our personal competence. So personal competence is our ability to stay aware of our emotions and manage our behavior and tendencies, which are caused by those emotions. So when it comes to self-awareness component of personal competence, it is our ability to accurately perceive our emotions and stay aware of them as they happen. For example, if I know that I lose my cool in such situations, so these are the triggers that actually lead to the creation of the emotion of anger in me, I'll begin to take care of those triggers. I'll determine that either I do not come across those triggers or I take care of the triggers in such a manner that they do not continue to cause anger in me. So that can be done only when I am extremely aware of my emotions and how they happen and in what order, what fashion they generally happen in. And then self-management is our ability to use the awareness of our emotions to stay flexible and positive in our behavior. So if I know that I can manage myself well and I can stay positive when it comes to interacting with people around me, that will mean that I know how to regulate myself, how to manage myself, especially how to manage my behavior. And this can happen only when I stay positive and I'm flexible in my behavior, in my approach towards other people. Social competence is the next important component of emotional intelligence. Social competence is made up of our social awareness and relationship management skills. Social competence is our ability to understand other people's moods, behavior, and motives so that we can respond to those effectively and improve the quality of our relationships. So when it comes to personal competence, we actually take care of our own emotions, moods, behaviors. When it comes to social competence, we take care of others' moods, emotions, and behaviors. So it also has two distinct parts. The first is social awareness, is our ability to accurately pick up on emotions in other people and understand what is really going on. So if I know what kind of emotions visit me, what kind of emotions I experience, if I can perceive the same when it comes to interacting with others, if I can perceive their emotions with emotional intelligence, I can do so. If I have developed that ability to perceive the emotions of others, I'll definitely try to understand what is really going on in the mind, or what's really going on around in the social sphere. So that will show that I have a great amount of social awareness. And then when it comes to relationship management, it will mean that we have the ability to use the awareness of our emotions and others' emotions as well to manage our reactions successfully, or manage our interactions successfully. Because relationship management depends a great deal on an understanding of our own emotions and the emotions of others. And that's exactly when the abilities to perceive, control, and manage or regulate emotions will play a major role. So when I meet you again, I'll be meeting you with another session. Until then, it is bye-bye from me.